Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Walden Art. Today we're going to be doing an art review and critique. This is another video. A little info about me. My name is Walden Wong. I'm a comic book artist from Marvel, DC. Check out my website. It's waldenwongart.com. There you'll see a lot of different things about me, my gallery. You can also buy things and check out my different social media. And if you're interested in my Patreon page, please check that out too. There's different tiers that you can subscribe to. So if you want a mentorship tier where I can record and film videos such as this one and do an art review for you, check out my page. It's patreon.com/WaldenWongArt. And today's artwork is from Shauna. Shauna drew a comic book that she penciled and she inked herself, and she also sent me reference photos of what she drew and asked me what to do next on her artwork. So without further ado, let's take a look at Shauna's work. So Shauna sent me the pencils. These are the pencils that she started drawing with. Very professional. She started sketching everything out in blue lines first and then drew it in pencil. Not only that, she also sent me reference photos. Okay, let's take a look at some of the reference photos that she had. So it's one of the games. Let me see what Shauna mentioned. It's one of the, let's see. So this was, let's see. There's an NBA champion and it's a team from Toronto, Canada. Not sure if you knew about the event. In June of 2019 was Canada's first NBA championship win. And we only have one team in NBA. And then once they won, they celebrated. And these are some of the reference photos. So let's take a look at the reference photos first. Okay, so here we have a lot of people sitting on a bus. Some background fireworks and people are just celebrating here. And then the next one we have is also people on the bus. People on the bus. Okay, we see people like a large crowd. We the north over here. Let's take a look at this. More people on the bus. Very, very clean photos. Right over here, people jumping on the bus, going towards the bus. There's also people on the bus, in the bus. And also graffiti on the bus, I noticed that. I'm not sure if the graffiti was done during the celebrations or that's how the buses looks like normally. We the North basketball championship over here. This looks like something in a Times Square area or something. Lots and lots of people, buildings in the background, very good. And then we have another one where people are climbing up on top of lights and poles, okay, celebrating the win. There's this guy looks like he's holding a shoe, holding one of his shoes and using it as a telephone as he's a T-Rex over there. Okay, now let's take a look at Shauna's artwork. Here's the pencils. Okay, pretty much all the stuff that reference photos that we saw is drawn over there. And now let's take a look at the inks. I think the inks are really, really nice. Okay, not only is inking, it's also gray wash. Okay, so one of the things that Shauna asked was she wasn't sure what to do next in regards to the bus. Okay, so right now the bus looks like a plain bus. There's really nothing happening there. I did notice in one of the reference photos, as I mentioned earlier, there was a image where, let's see, Control 0. Okay, not this one. Maybe this one, Control 0. You see the graffiti that's on the bus? Maybe scribble on some graffiti onto the bus. Okay, it could be like any words or whatever you think that's appropriate or necessary. Maybe gray wash that into, like, for example, like maybe something like over here. Like just a few graffiti lines or words. Just some random words over here. Now on the bus, it's too clean. Okay, so this is nighttime, and when you have a bus window that's just white, the window is just clear. I would maybe go in there and add some gray wash, and then try to indicate that there is people on the bus. So to do that, I'm gonna get maybe like a little bit of gray colors here, and then instead of having it all white, I'm going to go in here and maybe do a light gray wash on top of the bus. Okay, so something like this, and then maybe some people in here. Okay, Keep some of the white streaks. Let me go a little bit darker. Okay, and then maybe some here. So add a little. You don't have to draw everything in detail. Just kind of like indicate that there's people inside, like this. Okay, I'm gonna add a few more so we can see what's happening. Gray lines. I'll leave some streaks, and then at the same time, kind of indicate some silhouettes of people inside. Some taller people, maybe holding a railing bar inside, and then some shadows underneath, and then here's another person. So I'm doing this randomly based on how I think, what people are doing inside the bus. On the top, there's no people, there's no shape of head, so just add in some gray tones. And then here, just add in some gray tones over here, maybe some gray tones on the bottom and here. So now when you do this, the bus, it seems like there's people in it compared to how it was just before. Okay, here. And then I'm gonna go and maybe add some graffiti, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, just some words. Okay, maybe not a happy face. Whatever you do, don't put in like happy face. It makes it look like you try to draw a character and didn't look good. Maybe draw stars or different color tones. Maybe some lines over here. Good. Yeah, the drawing here is really good. No, so for here, I know you also did some bricks on the side. Like I'm going to use red to indicate what I'm talking about. So this area, you have bricks here. Let me go and zoom in. Okay, let's go and let me close these reference photos. We don't need those anymore. We already know how it looks like. If some of you want to see it again, just go back to the video. So here you have these reds, but all of a sudden it abruptly stops. Okay, what I would do is, instead of having it abruptly stop, because it just sometimes you don't really need it, but what I would do is I would go in here and then kind of paint some of those, and then kind of break up this line over here. So this line that you were drawing here, just continue that line, and then all of a sudden just break it up and slowly have it fade away. So here, just draw these lines and then slowly have it fade away. Okay, this way it's going to be a little bit of a softer transition for the person, the viewer that's looking at it. It doesn't look like it just stops. Okay, let's see. There's another thing I noticed. I was looking at this artwork the other day when you emailed to me, and I noticed that some of the areas has tangents. I would try to get away from tangents. Like for example, this pair of glasses over here is touching the line of this panel. That's a tangent. So try to avoid tangents when you're doing artwork. Tangent is, for example, like if I was drawing a box like this, and all of a sudden I drew another box. I don't want that box to line up exactly on that box. What I would do is draw a box, and I would draw that box like maybe behind that box, or I would have that box in front of the other box. But what you don't want to do is have objects connecting exactly to each other like that. Okay, very nice tonal work on the hair. Yeah, like when I first looked at this, I was really impressed. Like when you tell me that you have no art training and that you're able to draw like this, first of all, you're able to pencil like this in the different values, like in blue pencil first, and then in darker pencil, and then go back in there and start inking, and especially doing all the gray tones. Looks like you also have white ink as well. That is really impressive. So I do notice you're doing this by hand. The spatters that you're doing, all these little white dots that you're doing, I know you're doing it one at a time. You're just going like this, which there's nothing wrong with it, and it's okay. How about trying using a toothbrush? Since you're doing everything traditionally by hand, try getting a toothbrush, dipping it into your white ink, and then use your hand and kind of hold it like, say this is your toothbrush, right? You hold it like this and you kind of spatter downwards. You're spattering downwards. That way you get like natural dots. You can also use that technique for spattering. Like for example, if someone dropped something on the floor and water was spattering this way, that can also be an effect. Also like Like if someone was spitting, you can also use this toothbrush where you have directional spatter. So it's not like perfectly round. So if you have directional spatter, those lines, like right over here, I'm gonna draw right here, like you have like lines that are going like directional. Okay, so let's take a look at the faces. The faces, okay, looks very good. Okay, another thing I noticed, you're very good at gray wash. All the gray wash is good, but think about your shadows too. Everybody that's sitting on the bus and the train, I don't see a shadow for. Okay, so let's add some shadows in there and see how it looks. So there's no sun. Let's pick a light source. Looks like, let's see. Let's say because of this character right over here, let's just have the light source coming from the top left. Okay, so if it's coming from the top left, let's go in here and add a little bit of the gray wash underneath their legs. Okay, this will give depth to your work. Let me go a little bit lighter here. Go lighter. Just on the left side, maybe on this side, on all the legs, maybe underneath here. Also some underneath. So I'm gonna do a few of them very quickly. Some shadows on the left side. Okay, if some of the legs are coming out, maybe some shadows down here, shadows over here, shadows. Just give it a little shadow. Since this leg is kind of like coming outwards, we have the shadow here. It doesn't have to be underneath the legs because it's like, you know, he's kicking his legs out, and then a shadow here. Now let's take a look at the people that's on the bus. Okay, so let's add a little bit of shadow over here too. So now with the shadows, it looks a little bit better. I'm going to show you how it looks like before and after I added the shadows. So let's see. I'm going to remove my part. See, so there's no shadows here, but once you add the shadows, there's more depth onto the train. Okay, this part here, this is the background. Okay, so here's the train. I would push the background a little bit darker. For example, the background of this area. Okay, so go over here. I would darken up this a little bit more. Use a little bit more gray wash and darken up that. And I would also make this line a little bit thicker. Okay, let me darken up this line. You want some objects to pop a little bit more. So I want this bus to be a little bit thicker in the line work. Okay, good. Well, very nice job with the white halo. How you went from here, and you continue that white halo. Now, when you're doing halo, try to keep your halos consistent. You don't want line weights on your halo. I'm going to go in here and kind of clean up this halo over here a little bit. Okay, good. Yeah, the artwork is really nice. It's really looks good. Okay, I'm going to talk about line weights now. One of the things with inking comic book work is line weights, where you want to make certain figures in the foreground pop forward and some figures in the background pop back. So I'm always thinking of foreground, middle ground, and background. Characters that's close to the front will have a thicker line weight than characters in the back. Okay, I'm going to use red and indicate areas that I would make a little bit thicker. So like all the figures that's on the bottom are closer to the viewer. So in that case, I would go in here and make this line a little bit thicker, just to push them forward. Okay, the top of her hair over here, I will also make this a little bit thicker. Okay, making these areas thicker will pop the characters a little bit more. This character right over here on the bottom left, I would make his outline a little bit thicker. You don't have to really work on this gray tone area that you've done over here. It looks really nice. That gray tone looks almost like a photograph of a hat. That looks really good. Okay, over here, same with this arm. This arm is really close to the viewer, so I would make this arm, the line, a little bit, actually a lot thicker. Okay, so at the same time, focus on line weights, thick to thin, and especially here, make this thicker. Okay, any areas that's in front of the, like for example, this black hair, you don't really have to like worry about thickness here. Okay, so here's an example. You see how this line is thicker than this line, but her hair is in front of the viewer. Because it's in front of the viewer, you want this line to be thicker than any of the other lines that's behind her hair. Okay, you have a halo here. Nice job on halo, but try to keep the halo consistent throughout. So what I would do is I would have a white line. So let's add a white line here. I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller. Add a white line here. Add this white line, and then have this come out. Again, keep that line consistent, and let me draw that line again. Okay, so we're going to have that line that goes here, and then part of the outside of the fabric go like that, and then just have this continue all the way around. Okay, you can also use a gel pen or some kind of whiteout pen to create that gel. Now, when I create an outline, like a halo outline on one side, I always create the halo on both sides just to make that pop out even further. Looks like it's holding a cell phone. So the same thing, I would separate this with a white halo. Sometimes you get halo on the inside, which you've done over here, but I'll also halo the inside over here, just so we can see that cell phone a little bit more. Because without it, I couldn't really see. It looks like this is a cell phone that has like a microphone, like those styrofoam microphone things on it. So to create that white outline here. So that is another example of tangency. Tangency as in there's one object here and share another object that it could like accidentally perceive as one object. So what you want to do here is just create another halo to help separate. Since you're haloing, halo is a white outline that separates objects. Since you're haloing the bottom of the arm over there, might as well halo that all of that. So let's take a look at it without the halo. Okay, a little bit lost over here and here, but once you add the halo, everything pops forward. Let's take a look at some of the other characters. The faces are good. Okay, good. Okay, so I know when you sent me this, it looks like you took a photo of it. I don't know if you have Photoshop. When you save artwork, try to scan it. I'm going to show you how I scan artwork. If I'm using Photoshop, I would go File, Import, and then right here, WAI support. Okay, you can go. Right now, my scanner's not plugged in, but you can go to File, Import, and then Scan or WAI support. Once you're there, once you click it, select 600 dpi resolution and scan it in color. Even though if you're working on grayscale or black and white, it's always scan in color. Once you scan in color, then you can convert it into grayscale. And then if you have it at scanned at 600 dpi, then you can reduce it later to 300 dpi. Okay. Try not to scan it at 300 dpi first and then send it out. The reason for that is if you're scanning in a lower resolution from the get-go, you're going to lose a lot of details. Always scan in a higher resolution and then bump it down later. That way it captures everything. Okay. Yeah, I think you did a good job on... Okay, so here's another area. Let's add some shadows too. So when you're doing artwork, always think about the shadows, light source. I'm going to add some shadows on his arm. You have some shadows on the light pole, which is good, but also add some shadows underneath his fingers over there. So I'm going to circle this area right here. Okay. Yeah, this looks good. How about some shadows on some of the this We the Fourth? That's this big sign over here. So I'm going to go in here and maybe very lightly, basically, I see this line here, just add some shadows, just like a light gray tone. Gray wash would be pretty good. Yeah, I'm looking at this artwork. I would really like to see how you do, if this book becomes like a Kickstarter or funding, I will support it. It looks really good. The hair, I do like how you did the hair where all the hair is going one direction, not one direction, but it's flowing. I don't see any crisscross lines. You know, for you to tell me that you've never had any art training, I'm really impressed with what you've able to do with all this work. Okay, something is kind of off over here. Let me take a look at your pencils. Okay. Yeah, this area, okay, so this looks kind of off to me. This is the first thing I see that kind of looks a little bit off. Okay, so here is the drawing. of this guy, and then he has a collar over here. So he has a collar, but on the other side there's no collar, which throws me off. Maybe it's better to just add another collar here and then finish off that body, and then here's this side of the body. Now I can see the person, because right now originally it looks like he has one collar and then everything just kind of disappears. This go in there and add another collar over here, and then have, you know, the other side of the body finish off. Let's take a look at some of the other areas. Good. Yeah, very nice work, Shauna. I think you did a really good job on this. Okay, here. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, let's add a neck over here. Let's add a neck. Let me go in here. Control Z. Let me just make this a little bit. Let's add that neck over here and then make that hair a little bit more rounded, just to flow a little bit better. See, I don't know whose arm. Does this arm belong to this lady over here, this person with the long hair? If so, this hand needs to be a little bit smaller. Okay, yeah, I don't know. Actually, you know what? Let's take a look at the reference photo file. Open. I don't know if you have reference photos. It looks like there's no reference photos. So when you're, yeah, maybe. Oh, okay. So okay, I see what's going on. This arm belongs to this guy. Okay. Originally, I thought it was this arm belongs to this guy, or this character. So I don't know which arm belongs to which character. So that's another case of tangency, which I don't really know what belongs to what. So maybe we can clarify that this one belongs here. Maybe put like this arm like over here or something, or something. Maybe this arm like back here or something, like her arm. Because right now, like, yeah, okay. This panel needs a little bit more clarification, Shauna. I don't know what's happening. This looks like maybe the hair, or maybe that's someone's legs, or I don't really like know exactly what's happening with this panel. So let's try to fix this panel. I'm not really sure what's happening over there. All the other panels looks good. It's very clear from the get-go, but this one, I don't know if this is hair or the leg. And if it's the leg, why is the leg standing on the shoulder, and then why is this leg in front of here? So there's a lot of things that I don't understand with this panel. Everything else looks good. So there you have it. That's Shauna's artwork for this art review and critique video. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Check out my website, it's waldenwongart.com. On my website, you'll see a lot of things about my work for Marvel Comics, DC Comics, as well as a lot of other publishers. You can see a gallery, you can also shop and check out all my social media, as well as this Patreon page. And if you enjoyed this video and you're thinking about having someone critique your work, especially with comic book work, I'm more than happy to critique your work. Check out my Patreon page where there's a mentorship tier. There's also many other tiers where you can show support, so check that out. That page is patreon.com/WaldenWongArt, and check it out and see what you think. And until then, subscribe to my channel, hit like, share, and I hope to see you in the future, and I hope you learned something from this video. Take care, have a good day, bye bye.